Hi everyone, this is Mehul Sheikh, and in today's video I will discuss about multiprogramming systems. In my last video I completed the discussion on batch processing system, and in this video I will discuss about multiprogramming systems. Okay, so here I have written some points. We will see each and every of these points one by one. So now let us start our discussion with the first point. In multiprogramming systems, one or more programs will reside in memory at the same time. Okay, so multiprogramming systems are those systems where processor can execute one or more programs at the same time. Okay, next point, these systems can maintain two or more jobs concurrently in execution. So in multiprogramming systems, processor can maintain two or more jobs concurrently in execution. Okay, that means processor can move between two or more jobs during execution. Next point is programs stores inside the main memory and waiting for processor to complete the execution of last program. Okay, so when processor is busy in executing any program, other programs will be keep on waiting inside the main memory till the processor completes the execution of the first program. Next point is multiprogramming system has the ability to switch between the programs or jobs. Okay, so in batch systems we didn't had the ability where processor can move between programs. Whenever a batch comes in, how much ever jobs that batch will be containing, processor needs to execute all those jobs, okay, which comes under that batch. Okay, then only processor will be moving to the next batch to execute. But in multiprogramming systems it's not like that. At any point of time processor can move between one process or one program to another program. Okay, suppose the processor is busy in executing any program, and at that time that process needs to fulfill the request of any input or any output device. Then at that time, if that program or if that process wants to come out from the processor, then it can easily come out. Okay, at that time processor will move to the next program in the main memory and it will select that program and execute it. That is one of the ability of multiprogramming system. In multiprogramming system processor can move to any program during the execution. Next point is it permits several programs to get executed simultaneously. As I already said, multiprogramming system has the ability to execute several programs at the same time. Next point, multiprogramming systems allows context switching between two or more processes. Okay, in multiprogramming systems processor can move between various programs. Okay, that's what context switching. Okay, so context switching is the ability of the processor to leave the current process in the middle of the execution and jump to pick other process from the main memory to execute. So context switching is the ability of processor. Okay, suppose processor is busy in executing any process, and at that time if that process wants to come out from the processor and wants to fulfill the request of any input and output device, at that time that process can come out from the processor, and processor then takes another program from the main memory and start executing that program. So that is what context switching. Next point, CPU never sits idle as long as main memory has processes or programs to execute. Okay, in multiprogramming systems main memory has a larger space to hold the programs or processes. That's why CPU never sits idle. It always will have some processes ready for execution inside the main memory. Next point is it has the ability of CPU scheduling. Multiprogramming systems has the ability of CPU scheduling. Okay, what is CPU scheduling? Okay, so let us see that. If at any point of time more than one program is ready to get execution inside CPU, then it's the duty of the multi-programmed operating system to choose the one to be allowed for execution. This is called CPU scheduling. Okay, so multi-programming systems offers CPU scheduling. it's a technique. Whenever there will be two processes inside the main memory and those two processes are ready to get executed inside the CPU, inside the processor, then it's the duty of the multi-programmed operating system to select the appropriate program from the main memory and send it to the processor to get executed. Okay, so that decision has to be made by the multi-programmed operating system, and multi-programmed operating system does that decision with the help of CPU scheduling technique. Okay, so now let us move to the advantages of multi-programming systems. Okay, so in multi-programming systems, maximize CPU utilization. Okay, so here these multi-programmed operating systems are efficient enough in utilizing the CPU to the maximum extent, because there will be a larger space in main memory which can hold more and more processes and programs, and most of the times CPU will be busy in executing those programs or processes. Okay, because always there will be some processes gets ready for getting execution. That's why most of the time CPU will not be sit idle. Next point, it reduces the CPU idle time. As I have told you, there will always be some processes ready for getting execution inside the main memory. That's why CPU idle time gets reduced. Next advantage is it makes an illusion to user that more than one program is getting executed at the same time. Okay, so now since these multi-programmed systems are faster than the batch processing system, okay, and they are capable enough in executing more than one process, but in reality processor will be executing only one process at the same time, since these systems are so fast and they can easily make context switching between one process and another process. So it makes an illusion to the user, and user start feeling that processor is executing more than one process at the same time, but in reality processor will be executing only one process at the same time. Now let us come to the disadvantages of multi-programming systems. Okay, it requires CPU scheduling technique to use. Okay, as I have already told, whenever there will be two processes ready in the main memory and both of these processes are ready to get execution inside the processor, then multi-programmed operating system has to decide which processor should be sent to the processor to get executed. Okay, now the next disadvantage is multi-programming system should have sufficient amount of memory, and they should also have a proper memory management techniques. Okay, so these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of multi-programmed systems. Okay, so in this video we have discussed everything about multi-programmed system or multi-programming systems. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood each and every point of this explanation. That's all for this video, guys, and if you like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.